I watch movies, here's February, yay!
Finally, I'm here to watch the Madam Web movie.
No doubt in my mind, we not only got the absolute worst movie of 2024 so far within this month, but weirdly enough, we also got the best of the year. But as for the worst, what the absolute fuck do you think? Madam Web is beyond words bad. If you thought Morbius was bad, you're right, but Madam Web is so ungodly awful, I actually do unironically prefer Morbius. Morbius had the ability of being so bad, it's good. Madam Web has nothing. It is soulless, completely brain dead, and I kid you not, it might not just be one of the worst of 2024, it's one of the worst movies I've ever watched. That's right, I'm going that far to say it's that bad. Admittedly, I don't watch those purposely bad movies like Plan 9 from Outer Space or Troll 2, so there's that. The effects are straight up just laughable, and the plot is just all over the place. Look, the internet had no problem saying this movie was bad, and I'm just doing my dose of community service. Absolutely god-awful.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that, a fucking cat?
The funniest thing about Argyle is that the problems audiences had with it started as far back as the trailer. Not because the trailer was bad, but to put it in retrospective, the trailer released September 28th, 2023. And between that trailer's release, probably up until late January, every fucking movie had this trailer as a preview. You couldn't just go see... what came out in the last 4 months? Okay, let's just use Saw X because funny. You couldn't see practically anything without this trailer being used in the previews, and it got old fast. Because unlike Bob Marley One Love, a movie that, yes, did utilize the same trailer over and over in previews, at least One Love had a second trailer that was somewhat better. Argyle had one trailer carry it all the way up to its early February release. So to the film itself, talk about a waste of advertising. It's actually pathetic to see how much potential was botched with this movie. The story is very confusing, especially in the latter half of the film, and let me just say, there is such a thing as too many plot twists. The major twist that revolves around the
real Agent Argyle.
I am so happy I never have to watch this goddamn trailer ever again. Is actually pretty clever, but the other 20 twists that follow it, some of the worst and most batshit stupid twists I've ever seen in a movie. And I've seen Twista. You know what's funny? The fact that 2 years ago, there was a very similar movie to this called The Lost City. I talked about it in my 2022 ranking, and actually, I really liked it. And it's pretty much this movie, but with the adventure novel elements instead of the spy stuff. That's also a very interesting situation. Despite it being a spy film, it sure isn't very interesting in terms of, fucking espionage. The absolute drivel that is this film is something unmatched. Seriously, the trailer is ungodly. I hate this movie.
Have you... Oh, Marley.
Now to the one I just didn't mind, but I didn't also really care for, Bob Marley One Love. I really did enjoy this one to an extent. They had Ziggy Marley on set and didn't bother casting him as his fucking dad. Look at the guy they did cast, they look nothing alike! But that being said, seeing the story told is, I dare say, more important today than it was when it first happened. The ideas portrayed in Marley's story could be related to today's society and other events. I can't quite say it's the most perfect biopic, I mean, Oppenheimer dropped literally last year, but considering the story it's telling, it's hard to say that's really what One Love wants. On a whole, I'd say it does its job well, telling the story that needs to be told. Ziggy was right there, why didn't you?
I'm scared of the dark.
DreamWorks is quite the funny company, huh? One day they're making some decent original ideas, the next they're blowing one of their best properties by making Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate, and so help me God, if you guys ruin Kung Fu Panda for me, you're gonna get a nice whooshy finger hold from yours truly. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Orion in the Dark. Not DreamWorks' best by a long shot, but definitely worth a look. Especially since Netflix bothered to do everything in their power to not advertise the film. That being said, Orion in the Dark offers a unique look on a classic childhood fear, the dark. And I always commend DreamWorks on their ability to make personality out of literally anything. The dark in this case is very different and unique. And I like that this movie shows that even our greatest fears can be only that. For me, this was definitely a decent watch.
I just want to die!
And getting the month's silver medal is Lisa Frankenstein. I love when films just go all out on being weird and different, and this movie is definitely weird and different. To sum up the plot, this girl is obsessed with Cole Sprouse, and piece by piece, she brings him back to life. A penis gets chopped off, this movie's great. I've always been hit or miss with Catherine Newton. One day she can be doing a movie like Freaky, the next... But here, she is pretty good at the role she's given. And by God, Sprouse is so good with emotions, yet his character doesn't say a word. It's insane that I understood everything yet nothing this creature was going through. The rest of the film, it's pretty passable, and Weird pretty much can guarantee at least a little bit of quality. Well, it's definitely not going to be a top 5, top 10, or even top 15. I definitely enjoyed Lisa Frankenstein.
Why is it spicy?
Number 1, and it ain't even close. Dune Part 2 is one of the single best science fiction sequels I have ever watched. Suck it, Star Wars fandom. I'm actually kind of impressed. Weird enough, I wasn't that invested in the first movie. It still had its Denis Villeneuve charm that's always been there for his movies, but it took so long to set everything up, and by the end of the movie, it just left more to be desired. But man, does Dune Part 2 make everything worth it. It really is an impressive feat. Granted, the year so far hasn't given much of a high bar, but I was, for the most part, really invested. To think back to David Lynch's Dune movie from the 80s, how botched that was, and to see how far we've come in this story, how Villeneuve was able to bring life to a story that just couldn't win, it's amazing to see. And by a long shot, it's the best movie I was able to catch in February. Alright, I'll see y'all next time. It's great to be back. Shit! Who breached the Banana Slam exhibit?
Come on, Daddy, we want to suck that pussy. Ah!